Good afternoon and welcome. How much would you pay for a bottle of water? $1, $1.50, $2? That's the price at your average grocery store or mini mart. But how about if you're at a baseball game or at the airport? It can get pretty expensive, am I right? But what is the true price of our precious bottled H2O? By continuing to purchase bottled water, we are polluting ourselves with toxins from the plastics, our atmosphere with the petroleum used in the bottle's productions, and our oceans with the plastic waste. According to a 2009 article in Reader's Digest, Americans throw away 25 million plastic beverage bottles every hour. This is a snapshot of my parents' trash can, and you can count 1, 2, 3, 4 plastic bottles. We're trading the convenience of an easy grab beverage for years of disease, corporate monopoly, and resource scarcity. In my research, I have found an atrocious waste in consumers' preference of bottled water to tap. Sustaining the bottled water industry has vast negative implications on people's health, their wallets, and the survival of our planet. You may think choosing tap instead of bottled water can be an insignificant choice in your everyday life, but changing this one habit can have monumental effects. In a society that worships convenience, drinking tap or refraining from buying bottled water may seem like a huge inconvenience to some, but the unseen price to be paid for this small convenience is catastrophic. I urge you today to observe my findings with careful consideration of the impact of this one daily decision. Drinking tap water instead of bottled water eliminates many health risks, reduces a huge stress on the Earth's environment, and keeps more money in your wallet. Drinking tap. So what makes bottled water so bad, you ask? Although advertisers would have you believe otherwise, bottled water is not as safe as you think. But no one should think that bottled water is better regulated, better protected, or safer than tap, says Eric Goldstein, co-director of the Urban Program of Natural Resources Defense Council, a nonprofit organization devoted to protecting health and the environment. As reported by Europe Plastics Research Group, many plastic bottles are made from phthalates and contain BPA, bisphenol A, which are both carcinogenic chemicals. These chemicals can leak into the water, especially under heat induction. Through the Environmental Protection Agency, it keeps a sharp eye on the levels of these toxins allowed in tap water. While the FDA regulates bottled water, their regulation is heavily relied on the bottling companies' self-assessments. The NRDC tested more than 1,000 bottles of 103 brands of bottled water. While noting that most bottled water is safe, the organization found that at least one sample of a third of the brands contained bacterial or chemical contaminants, including carcinogens, in levels exceeding state or industry standards. The NRDC found that samples of 2 brands were contaminated with phthalates, and in one case exceeding Environmental Protection Agency standards for tap water. The EPA lists the adverse effects on health in the National Primary Drinking Water Regulations. They include infertility, cancer, kidney damage, endocrine problems, liver problems, and tooth decay due to lack of fluoride. By choosing bottled water, not only are we risking our own health, but we are giving corporations incentive to privatize water. They decide how much life is worth. There is no life without water. In today's economy, they'll only charge us what we're willing to pay. According to a study by Heal the Bay, the average tap water in California costs about $1.60 per 1,000 gallons, while the average bottled water costs about 90 cents per gallon. That means you're paying over 560 times more for a product that falls from the sky. In fact, if you look at the price per gallon, you will pay more for a single-use bottle than for gasoline. Reader's Digest 2009 article reports Americans spending $10.6 billion on bottled water, and almost half of that bottled water came from public tap water supplies. Since only 1% of the Earth's water is suitable for drinking, it is imperative that we reclaim our right to water. It is the same as air. You can't bottle air and patent it for sale. In addition to the colossal health and economic harms of this industry, fossil fuels are used in every aspect of water consumption, from production, distribution, and the removal of bottles. Drop the Pop. International Bottled Water Association reports 17 million gallons of petroleum are used in production each year and 18 million more in transportation. The report also shows that 84% of water bottles are not recycled and remain in landfills where they can take up to 1,000 years to biodegrade. So 86% of single-use plastic water bottles end up in landfills. But what difference can one person make, you ask? With every bottled water beverage you don't buy, you make a huge impact. Drinking tap water saves you money. A family of 4 will save on average $1,000 a year. Making the switch vastly reduces our human footprint and the impact on the environment. Not to mention our reliance on fossil fuels. Your sink is as far as you have to go for refreshing, life-sustaining H2O. The water that comes out of your faucet is most likely safe. In general, toxins in drinking water don't exceed EPA limits, but there are still legitimate concerns. From a funny taste to lead contamination from aging pipes, your tap water may have picked up some unsavory additions along the way. You can get a water quality report from the water company to make sure it's safe for drinking. Even should your family decide they dislike the taste of tap water, there are simple, inexpensive ways to alter the taste. First, you can install a filtration system for under $30. Or you can just fill up a glass container with your tap water, put it in the fridge, and overnight the chlorine that causes the funny taste will evaporate. For the purest water, look for a filter approved by NSF, Underwriters Laboratories, or the Water Quality Association. Get yourself a cool reusable water bottle. I got my kids these BPA and phthalate-free cool little water bottles, and they actually don't mind the taste of tap water anymore because they don't know what bottled water tastes like. And avoid 5-gallon jugs too, because even though they're easier on the environment because you reuse them and they don't get thrown away, doesn't mean they're healthier for you. Europe Plastics reports that a 5-gallon jug made of polycarbonate can have the worst potential of leaking BPA. So cancel your monthly delivery service from Sparklets at Home and save money. Okay, let's visualize a future in which we do not wean ourselves off bottled water. None of us want to see the day when corporations control our freshwater sources or our daughters are childless from infertility caused by contaminated sources. Imagine not being able to afford clean drinking water. Imagine a world in which water is the most expensive commodity. Imagine the soil contamination caused by plastic bottles in landfills, making the soil unfit for cultivation. But if everyone in America purchased a reusable water bottle this year, it would eliminate 35 million gallons of fossil fuel consumption. Carbon emissions from bottle production would be reduced by 2.5 million tons. We'd save over 40 million bottles a day from ending up in landfills. Now think, if in 20 years, water is free, safe, and available to everyone, that's a future I want for my children. Water is the most essential component to the survival of man, and that's pretty important. Yet Americans continue to consume on average 178 bottles of water per person each year. The choice is simple. Forgo the inconvenience of a bottled beverage now for the future sustainment of life on Earth. You too can eliminate your dependency on bottled water for refreshment while keeping your pockets full instead of making some CEO of some corporation richer. Americans enjoy some of the safest drinking water in the world, while those in other countries die daily from lack of clean water. Choose now to break the habit of drinking fancy bottled water and appreciate the freedom of clear water brought to you at the twist of a wrist. Thank you.